Morning there, Dan. We are back again for another show. You there, Dan? Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to be back. It's
Yes,
been a minute.
another one for the public. Today we're going to talk about credit and debt, so the folks can so people can actually understand what these things mean. Dan actually took the time out to get some definition on these words, and we're going to share with the public, and so they can have a better awareness of what these things are, what your credit represent, and so forth. All right, Dan, you want to start out there? You said you want to start out with a definition of credit or debt. You told me.
Yeah. I just want to take a moment and say good morning to everybody that's listening. Say hello to everybody around the world, and it's great that actually the broadcast is getting around the world.
We're very grateful for the audience. Our friends in Spain and Russia, by the way, their shows get big in Spain and Russia, so we just want to thank them. The audience in Spain.
Thank you, Spain. Thank you, Russia.
Yeah,
with love, lots of love, guys. We really appreciate it. We really, truly do. We don't have to do this if we don't want to. This is a choice of ours to do this. And so the only motive that we have to do it is to just share information.
Yes, share the knowledge.
Share the knowledge, give it away, that which we've received. We're
entitled,
sort of required by universal law to give it back.
Yeah.
So I am deeply grateful for the audience that we have. I don't care if it's just one of you.
Unfortunately, it's not. They love us in Russia and they love us in Spain. So, so we're pretty grateful for that.
We love you guys back, genuinely. Love you guys back, all of you.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about credit. We're going to talk about debt. We're going to get an understanding of what your credit score or your credit standing, what it really represents. We're going to define what money is and what money isn't. I know we talked about that on a previous show.
Yeah.
Coming from the sense of the Federal Reserve and ownership. But the American lifestyle, and I know this is globally as well, for the most part in Western industrialized nations, living on borrowed money and borrowed time seems to be the norm.
Exactly.
And something inside of me tells me that most people just go with that because that's what they were taught.
Yeah.
That's what they were indoctrinated with. And I think for the most part, people don't really go and learn for themselves what debt is. They're just taught by their parents or by their teachers or by their professors that this is how you live in America now. This is how we live now. So without any forethought, without any awareness, it's kind of like monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
Okay. Call it the herd mentality, if you will. And so most people actually engage in this lifestyle without really knowing their position in it. Okay? Let's take a look at the word credit. Because, you know, they say that your financial health is based on your credit. Okay? In bookkeeping, credit means the entry and account of any amount paid by a debtor on account of their debt, or a transfer of property on promise of future payment. Future payment. Now, we've discussed it before that time is actually an illusion.
Yeah.
Okay? Distinguishment of past, present, and future is a terribly persistent illusion. Albert Einstein said that.
Yeah.
And so he understood that time was not real. Time is a construct. And so Any thought, any attention on future is just an illusion.
Yeah.
It's not. It's an anticipation. Okay? And so, transfer a property on promise of
Payments.
future payment. That's not guaranteed.
No.
There's no guarantee there.
No.
Okay? Let's look at the word debtor, because, that word debtor is in this definition of credit, right? Debtor is one who is in debt.
Yeah.
One who is under obligation to another, as for money or goods, or for services or benefits, or for help. A debtor is somebody who answers to another person.
Yeah. Or institution.
Okay? Another word for debtor could be a slave.
Yep. Debt slave.
I don't mean to be harsh about it, but let's not mince words here.
Yeah.
Let's just be straight across the board. If you are a debtor, then you inevitably answer to somebody else.
Yes.
A creditor.
If you have a car payment, a house payment, a furniture payment, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as you're paying a bill.
You answer to the creditor.
Yes.
You live your life for the creditor.
Exactly.
Now let's look at what a creditor is. Okay? Creditor is one to whom another is pecuniarily indebted to. Pecuniary means having a monetary penalty attached to it.
Yeah. Which is the interest, correct?
Interest, a tax, or a fine.
Yeah.
That is pecuniary. Okay? That's pecuniary when we're talking in financial terms. Okay? So, a creditor is one to whom you, the debtor, are indebted to with interest. With interest. So not only are you under obligation to this person for your debt, your base debt amount, your premium, but you also owe them interest, a penalty.
Yes.
Okay? For that credit, for that promise to pay a future payment. So, you're paying somebody else to live your lifestyle.
Exactly.
And you're paying a penalty for having to pay somebody else
Yeah.
for that lifestyle.
You're paying an interest to pay somebody to live.
You're paying a penalty to borrow some money from somebody else to have a
To
lifestyle.
have a lifestyle, yeah.
That is slavery.
Yeah.
That's financial slavery.
Yeah, it's true. It's going to be a very sensitive topic because most of the people that's probably going to be listening to this podcast here, this particular show, chances are they owe car payments, they owe mortgage. We're not trying to hurt their feelings, we're just bringing out the facts.
Bringing out the facts. They
Yeah,
have
that's-
student loan debt,
Student loans, exactly. And
credit card debt,
credit card debt, yeah.
charge card debt.
Yes.
Okay? Which chances are they do.
Yeah, 90%, probably more than 90% chances are they do. So it's not going to be a podcast that's going to be taken. It's going to take it. If people listen to it this episode, they're going to probably. We're not trying to hurt anyone's feeling, right? We just want to bring the.
No, I'm not. My goal here is not to offend anybody.
Offend, yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I was looking for. We're not trying to offend people because it's a very sensitive topic right now. Because we did
Very
about,
sensitive
yeah,
because of, the news over here in our nation is about the feds getting ready to raise interest rates
yes,
because of inflation.
exactly. And tell people, a lot of people don't even know what inflation mean either. It's something I mean,
Oh, wow.
no,
Would you like
sad,
to know
but
what inflation means?
yeah, it's sad that we have to go this route and break things down every time we mention a word. And I actually explained to a friend of mine today that have a car payment, that the car payment went up on them, and I have told them it's inflation. And they look at me
It's
like
inflation.
in the deer steer in your
Caught in the
headlights.
headlights.
Yes, they have no clue what I was saying to them. And so the reason
Okay,
why go ahead.
Let me give the definition of inflation
Okay.
to the listeners.
Okay, go ahead.
And they need to pay attention to this.
Okay.
Inflation is defined as expansion or extension beyond natural or proper limits so as to exceed normal or just value. Simplification, the over-issuing of currency.
Overprinting by the Federal Reserve Bank.
Overprinting, over-issuing into circulation of a currency.
Yes.
And so the more they print, the more they circulate, the more it inflates it against normal values. And so what happens, it decreases the value of the currency. Now, yes, a $1 bill may have a face value of $1. That's face value alone.
Based on it, yeah.
But the more of those same dollars with that same value are in circulation, the less real value it possesses. And the less real value, not face value, but real value, the less it possesses, the more it takes. So, we're looking at an increase in the value of houses right now, right?
Absolutely. The house, according to homeowners, house market is going up.
The reason why the housing market is going up is because it takes more dollars of $1 face value to buy that house than it did 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Same house. Same material was used to build that house.
Same wood.
Same wood.
Same shingles, same doors.
Same shingles. Same doors, same windows.
Everything, yeah.
Same lawn, same shrubs, same trees. The reason it's going up in value, and this is what they tell the public, is because the dollar's losing value.
But they don't tell the public that, though.
Oh, no.
No, they tell the public your house is going up in value. Takes more money to buy that house. And what do the homeowner does after that when he or she hears something like that? They go ahead and invest more money in making their property look better. Because, oh wow, my house went up 20, 30,000. I need to go fix it up prettier so it can worth more money.
Need to put some new paint on it.
New paint, new roof.
Need to give it curb appeal.
Yes.
That's what they call curb appeal.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is, though,
The house didn't go up.
the dollar's being devalued because of an overissue of currency.
Yes. Inflation.
Inflation.
Yes, sir.
And the reason why the feds have to raise interest rates, key benchmark rates, is because the dollar is losing value.
Absolutely.
It takes more of the dollars to buy with. Now, let's look at the other end. Let's look at deflation. Okay? Deflation means a decrease in the amount of currency in circulation in a country.
Yeah.
And so if you have less currency in circulation, that means that face value dollar bill is going to have more value.
Yes, absolutely.
you have more purchasing power.
Exactly. So the price of the houses go down during that time.
Price of the house is going to go down.
But when that happens, homeowners get upset.
Of course, because they think they're losing value.
Exactly. When in reality, the house worth more money.
The house is actually worth more money.
Yes, that's the irony behind this whole thing. Wow. I keep going, Dan.
Okay, so, when we're talking about, the inflation and deflation of our currency, we have to understand what money is. And money is just simply anything that serves as a common medium of exchange and trade.
Mm-hmm.
Civilizations used to use feathers.
Mm-hmm.
Civilizations used to use stones.
Mm-hmm.
Civilizations used to use what was called a tally stick.
Mm-hmm.
Civilizations used to use seashells.
Mm-hmm.
That was a form of currency, but because it was the commonly held medium of exchange for goods or services.
Mm-hmm.
Now we use what are called bills. It's not hard money. Hard money is metallic, has metal backing it, or it's made of precious metals. And so, and here's the kicker. People think that their property is money.
Yeah.
Well, property is not money and money is not property.
Mm-hmm.
Because property is that which has real or inherent value, real value.
Yeah.
While money has but representational value. Remember what I said, the face value of the dollar bill?
Mm-hmm.
That's representative value.
Yeah.
Based on the amount that's affixed to the face of the bill.
Mm-hmm.
And money does not have real value because there's nothing backing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just paper with a face value on it.
Mm-hmm.
An inherent means permanently united, intrinsic, innate, essential. Synonyms to this word, inherent, if people don't understand what inherent means: indispensable, inseparable.
Mm-hmm.
That's real. That's tangible.
Yeah.
Okay? Intrinsic means pertaining to the nature of a thing or a person.
Yeah.
Real or true.
Really true, yeah.
And so the only value our money has on is face value, and that's not real value.
Mm-hmm.
Property has real value.
Yeah. So basically,
And so
what we're trying to tell the audience right now, even though it's our only means of exchange, which is that piece of paper called money, if you got $1,000 right now in your pocket, you got $1,000 piece of paper. That's basically what you have in your pocket.
You have pieces of paper to the tune of 1,000
in exchange.
Face value.
In exchange.
Yes.
But in reality, it's $1,000 worth of monopoly money.
Pretty much.
Pretty much what you have in your pocket. Yeah.
Now, your credit standing is your reputation for meeting one's financial obligations.
Yes.
Okay, in other words, it's your credit score is your credit standing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's your history of being able to sustain your own debt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Just because you have a house with a mortgage, just because you have a brand new car with a car note, just because you have credit cards that you live by, charge cards that you live by, doesn't make you solvent. Doesn't mean that you possess real value.
It's true.
It just means you have debt.
A lot of debt.
And the higher the credit score means the more debt you owe.
No, hold on, hold that thought. Let me repeat what he just said for the viewers. The higher your credit score, so when someone comes to anybody bragging that they have a very high credit score, the next thing you should say to that person is that how is that debt you're carrying? Meaning, what we're trying to tell the viewer is that even though somebody's bragging on their credit score to anybody, what they're trying to tell people is that I'm in debt. I'm in a lot of debt. That's basically what we're trying to let the viewers know. So the higher your credit score, the more
Federal
money you
Reserve and the bank raised the minimum credit score for good credit.
Yeah.
They raised it.
Because they want you to be more in debt.
Because they want you in debt more. And what they're doing as well is they want people who are already in debt
to go
to their eyeballs. to go further in.
Yeah. So there's no difference. That you're basically a slave. You're a slave to that bill.
And people live their lives according to their credit score.
Mm-hmm.
People will literally get depressed if they find out that their credit score has. You know, I'll tell the listener the story I told you about my past.
Mm-hmm.
I had a Ford F-250 pickup truck that was financed through Ford Motor Credit.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine bought it from me. Gave me $9,000 over what I owed.
Mm-hmm.
So I took what I owed left, which was about 9 months, on my car note, to the bank and said, here, I want to pay off a car loan.
Mm-hmm.
And they were adamant in trying to refuse my payment. And I said, no, I want to pay this obligation off. I want to get out from underneath it early because I don't want to owe you any more money.
Mm-hmm.
And their response was, if I pay it off now, I will ruin my credit.
Wow.
I will harm my credit if I pay my obligation off early. The reason being because they weren't going to get any more interest out of me after that fact.
Exactly. Exactly.
They were not going to be able to penalize me anymore.
So by paying your bills early hurt your credit score.
Well, yeah, because I went to Transperion and had my credit checked, and sure enough, yeah, it sure did. But I didn't care at that point. I was done.
Mm-hmm.
I no longer had that obligation to me.
Mm-hmm.
We did the same thing with the Explorer.
Mm-hmm.
We literally got out from underneath our debt by paying it off. And we didn't take on any more debt, and that pretty much wrecked our credit.
Mm-hmm.
Because we weren't willing to be penalized anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't want to carry the interest associated with that debt anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so because I wasn't willing to give them more than what they actually deserved to begin with,
Mm-hmm.
no more credit for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was more than responsible.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I went above and beyond. Being responsible means making your monthly premium or at worst paying the interest only.
Oh, yeah.
And they love it when you just pay the interest only.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if you carry a balance, if you forward the balance to the next month on the premium, all that does is increase the interest.
Yeah.
Because that's the penalty against it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So they love it when you only pay the interest.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they encourage, well, you know, if all you can make is your interest payments, at least pay those.
At least pay them.
True?
It's true.
Now, they don't tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
because more interest is going to compound against what you already owe.
Yeah.
And the more you owe, the more interest you owe.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why people are underwater.
Mm-hmm.
This is why our nation has a national debt at the levels it has, because all they can pay is the interest.
Yeah.
That's all they've been paying.
It's true.
That's why the debt keeps increasing and increasing. And if you watch the debt clock, just go to the debt clock on the internet and watch that thing just roll at light speed. It's because our government is only focused on paying the interest on that debt.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the skinny. Here's the rub. If all bills were paid simultaneously at once, there would not be a penny of money in circulation.
Wow.
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 If all debts were satisfied across the board in this nation, there would not be another penny in circulation. Wouldn't be a need for it.
Yeah.
And so, if a person, now you may claim you own a $500,000 house, and you may claim that that is your value. But here's where somebody's really solvent.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, debt-free.
That's true.
If they have assets that are more than their liabilities. And a liability is an obligation to pay.
To pay, yeah.
Okay?
But once your liability outweigh your asset, you're in debt.
Up to your eyeballs in debt. Probably the crown of your head in debt.
Yeah.
And right now, probably 80% of Americans or better are underwater in debt.
Yeah. Just to let the viewers know, as I shared with you yesterday when we were talking on the phone, just like to share this with the viewer. I told you I like to read Forbes magazine a lot, and an article that catches my attention, I was sharing that with you, is about the retiree, the upcoming retiree in America. They said America is now facing the biggest retirement crisis of all time, meaning that at the age of retirement, they said 97% of Americans are going to be broke. And the reason why it's not broke, meaning that they don't have a house or they don't have a car or they don't have, it's not that what they meant. They said the reason why they're going to be broke is because they're going to be so in debt that when they retire, their Social Security and their pension, if they get in pension, is not going to cover the debt they're owed, because they're saying it's it's not going to cover it at all. We're not covered.
It's because the abilities exceed their value of their assets.
Exactly. And also another thing they said, that in the same article, what I find also interesting, I just want the viewers to know this, is that close to 80% of Americans cannot find $1,000 in their savings account. If an emergency arises at this point, that come up to $1,000, they have to put it on a credit card. They got to put it on a credit.
Or they can't meet the need of that emergency.
Exactly. And it's not that they're saying that people are not working. That's not what they're saying. They're saying people have so much debt and so much bill on a monthly scale that they can't even save nothing. They can't. It's so bad that they cannot save nothing. They can't even have Go ahead.
And as you and I have ascertained before, and we're not making fun of this.
No, we're not. It's just the facts.
Americans are making broke look good.
Oh yeah, really good. Really good.
And if you get past the surface, the external, get past the brand new car
Mm-hmm.
that they're behind the wheel of.
Mm-hmm.
Get past that brand new house that they walk into to live.
Mm-hmm.
Get past that new wardrobe they're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are internally that person is living a life of worry.
Mm-hmm.
That person is living a life of stress.
Exactly.
That person is living a life of fear, anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And in a nutshell, that person's not truly happy.
It's true. Absolutely.
Because unfortunately, the standard of living in this country, the bar has been raised so high
Mm-hmm.
that you cannot realistically live it without going into debt.
Yeah, it's true.
Being in debt all your adult life.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have a standard that we have to live by.
Yeah.
And anything below that standard is not acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
It's not normal.
Yeah.
And so our culture is a culture of debt,
Yeah, it's true.
a culture of indebtedness. Okay? A culture of constantly answering to another person.
Mm-hmm.
A culture of living your life to benefit somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? All the while looking good. I mean, mind you, it must look good.
Oh yeah. That new car looked good. That new house looked good. But the car is owned by the bank. The house is owned by the bank. So.
Now, indebted means having contracted a debt.
Mm-hmm.
That's what indebted means. Having contracted a debt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you went into agreement with somebody to go into debt. That's what a contract is. It's an agreement between two parties.
Yeah, absolutely.
Contracts are one-sided, mind you, but it's still an agreement.
Yeah.
One party benefits out of a contract.
Mm-hmm.
In a contract, one is receiving, one is giving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So if you're indebted and you went into agreement to be the debtor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I bring this up because the listener has to understand they have a choice. You have a choice in this matter. The choice is to go into debt or not to go into debt.
Mm-hmm.
To increase your debt level or not to increase your debt level.
It's true.
I don't have a high credit score, but I guarantee you my bills are paid.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you I have assets that exceed my liabilities.
Liability, yeah. And this is where people are getting things wrong. They think that if you don't have a high, like an 800 credit score, you're not doing well in life. And in reality, people with extremely high credit score, we want the viewers to know this. People with extremely high credit score are people with the biggest debt. They are the ones with the biggest bills. The house, chances are, the house that they live in, they don't own it. The car that they're driving, they don't own it. That's why their credit score is high. Don't get me wrong, they are living up to their responsibility by paying the bill. That's why they got the high credit score. But when you really think about it, they don't own nothing that they have. They really don't.
Nope.
They don't own it.
So it's not an asset.
So it's not an asset. Exactly, and people need to know this. You didn't.
It's a liability.
It's a liability. That house and that car, you don't pay for like 2 to 3 months. It's not yours. No, it's no longer yours. They're gonna come get it. And people need to know that.
Repossession.
Exactly. You know, here in the
That means repossession. If you go through repossession, it means you didn't possess it at all.
Exactly.
Basically, you're living on borrowed money, borrowed time.
Borrowed time.
Remember that promise of future payment? That's borrowed time.
Yeah.
That loan is borrowed money. With a penalty attached, interest. And so if you're paying a payment plus a penalty for using that money, then what you have a loan for, what you contracted that debt for, you don't own. Period.
Yeah. I know this show, when people listen to it, we're not trying to offend people by telling them this information, but we're telling them the truth. We're not trying to
help people.
We're trying to help. We're not trying to offend anyone. It's giving them awareness so they understand what's truly going on.
You brought up Forbes magazine.
Yeah.
Okay. And quite honestly, people probably will find Forbes a very dull and boring magazine to read. But for the health of their financial awareness, I encourage them to read Forbes magazine. Another magazine to read would be The Economist.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know people this is not like an interesting read. I get it. It's not like a romance fiction. It's not like Twilight. It's not like Lord of the Rings, okay? I understand that, but it's still advantageous to read these publications because they bring about awareness. Acute awareness.
It's true.
To your financial health. And we're not saying you have to. The choice is yours. Do or do not. You can choose to read it or you can choose not to read it. The choice is yours. I'm not judging you either way. All I'm saying is that it's to your advantage. Should you decide to read it, it's going to make you a better person. It's going to raise your intellect and your intelligence about the world of finance. Knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
And the more knowledge you acquire about the financial world and how the mechanisms and how it operates, the less of a victim you're going to be. Because, see, the last thing they want you to do is become aware.
It's true. The bank don't like that.
They don't want you to become intelligent.
No, they don't
in the matters of finance.
No, the bank don't want that.
They don't want that.
No, they're not going to make any money off of it.
They will not make a dime off you once you become aware of how banks work, the mechanism of bank operations operate. They're not going to make any more money off you.
They won't.
Now, I may have a very poor credit score, but my assets exceed my liabilities.
Which is very rare in America, by the way. Extremely rare. You just spoke You just basically spoke a language that 97% of Americans cannot say, and this percentage actually is from Forbes magazine. I'm telling people what I read in Forbes. 97% of Americans' debt exceed their asset. 97% of Americans, man. It's sad, but it's true.
It's true.
It's just the reality. Yeah.
So I am pretty much one of the 3%.
Yes, absolutely.
Where
Your
my assets exceed my liabilities.
Yeah.
In other words, let me put it in layman terms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when it comes to monthly budgets,
Mm-hmm.
I have more money at the end of the month
Mm-hmm.
left over
Mm-hmm.
after paying all my obligations.
Mm-hmm.
I have more money at the end of the month. At the end of the year,
Mm-hmm.
after every month has gone by, I have more money.
Mm-hmm.
Because my liabilities do not exceed my assets.
It's true.
And so I have more money to, for lack of a better word, play with.
Yeah.
Maintain a monthly balance in the checking and the savings account.
Mm-hmm.
So that if anything, any emergency does arise, we're covered.
Mm-hmm.
We're covered.
Mm-hmm.
Week to week, month to month, year to year.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't have the responsibility of the liabilities.
Yeah.
We don't have the debt attached to us.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that obligation.
And you see,
And
and that also has to do with the reason why 70% of marriage in this country fail. Yeah, relationships.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
it is
Because of their
financially
financial
related,
reasons.
financial hardship.
yeah. Because they take up way more than what they can handle. Way more.
Well, quite honestly, marriages are based on the external happiness.
Most marriages, not all marriages.
Most marriages?
Most marriages, yeah.
Their happiness is governed off their external,
Yeah. Absolutely right.
what they have, what they acquire.
Yeah.
And fortunately, wow, I know my marriage is very rare in this country. I know it is. I understand it is. And it's okay. But how do I say it? I have an abnormal wife because I am an abnormal man. In other words, we don't think normal
Mhm.
at all. We don't think in terms of that we have an image to project as a husband and wife.
Mhm.
We don't have an image that we have to project as a family. See, the key to success is happiness.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Success is not, okay? Success is not the key to happiness.
Happiness. Success.
Happiness is the key to success.
Absolutely.
And fortunately, our marriage is very successful because we're very happy.
Yeah.
Happy with one another, acceptance of one another, in love with one another, because neither one of us in our relationship with each other and our happiness with each other is not based on the external, the acquirement of material things, but it's based on gratitude and acceptance for who we are. And not once have we tried to change the other.
It's true.
We accept each other for who we are. This is our person. This is who we are. And we love each other for it. And we've spent 22 years now building the relationship, not the marriage.
The relationship.
The relationship. Now, we've got 4 children. Our 3 youngest are still at home. They have all their needs met, above and beyond. They don't lack for anything. But we don't have any debt.
Which is quite rare, man. Very rare. People don't understand that. Very rare in this country not to have debt.
You know, and I thought it was cool that you wanted to do a show on this because one of your friends said that, you know, they've got to raise their credit score.
Yeah.
To a certain level.
I was having this is the reason for this podcast, is because I was telling Dan, you know, let the viewers know the reason why we're doing a show on this is because, you know, I have a friend that's trying to get a higher credit score, and then when I brought that to your attention, you told me, Nick, they're basically saying to you, I need more debt. Basically, that's what they're saying to you. I need to have more debt over my head. That's why your credit score go up, and that's where you enlighten me more on what credit is, because I'm not going to lie to you, I was 50% enlightened on credit until you really open it up to me. Be like, Nick, listen, the higher your credit score, the more money you owed. And I thought about it, I'm like, you make sense. It absolutely makes sense. For you to get a high credit score, you got to owe more money, and you got to be paying these bills every month to maintain that score.
Yep.
Absolutely right. So you're more...
Now, it's not the fact that you have more debt. It's the fact that you have a certain level of debt that you can manage.
Yeah.
But it's still debt.
It's still debt, yeah.
Whether you can manage it or not, it's still debt. And if you're in debt, you don't have ownership.
No ownership whatsoever. Absolutely not.
Because you are obligated to another person.
Absolutely. And you got to pay that bill every month.
With penalty.
With interest.
You answer to another person. So you're not really living an adult life.
No.
You're living a life to benefit another person.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm going to share a story here. As I was saying to you, remember a week and a half ago, I shared with you when I went to the grocery store. I want the viewers to know this. Yeah, in a store I want to share with the viewers, even though I told you already, Dan. When I was parking the car, we're going to Walmart. We had to go to the back because we were getting something in the garden section. And I met a family, and the husband was actually parking his car right next to mine, but they're actually going to the grocery section, which is in the front of Walmart. And the wife came out. The wife actually went to Walmart. The wife came back out, shouting at the husband like, hey, why are you parking the car way over there in the back? And I told you, the husband responds, hey, we have no choice, we have to, because the tow truck might take our car away. Basically, the guy missed, according to I wasn't eavesdropping, I was in a situation I couldn't help but overhear the conversation. Basically, the guy was, let the viewers know, the guy was hiding his car because he hadn't paid the car note in maybe 2 or 3 months. So he's now in a process. Every time he drives his vehicle, he has to hide it. He has to hide it every time he parked it because he is afraid of the repo man taking the car. Now, do you really own that car?
Nope.
No, you don't own the car. You're driving it, but you don't own the car. If you're hiding...
And the man's living in fear.
So he's in fear, yeah. He's in fear.
He's living a life of period.
And that's not happiness. Absolutely not.
That is not happiness at all.
No.
And unfortunately, chances are that household has an environment of tension.
Yeah.
No peace. no serenity,
Mhm.
just tension. Because tension comes from anxiety, tension comes from worry, tension comes from fear. And all of these are emotions that come out of an anticipated future. Because he's looking forward to a day that's illusionary where his car will be taken. And so if a person is living in debt, then they're living in a future.
Yeah. And
Remember, transfer a property on the promise of future payment.
yeah, so you're basically living in the future.
You're always living in the future, which is not real.
No. So
You're not living in the present moment, which is real. Which is the only realness anybody has.
So basically, that's a sign of madness, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's also a reason why, if people notice, especially here in the United States, the tension level and the anger level of people now.
Mm-hmm.
People are short-tempered now.
Mm-hmm.
People aren't as sociable now. It's not hard to see a person out on the streets getting angry or acting out in anger because they're living lives of stress and worry.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're stuck in a future.
Wow.
You know, and you know a person's living a future when you hear them say, man, I hope I have enough money this payday coming up to pay my bills.
Yeah, I hear that all the time. I hope
that person in the future.
Yeah, I hope my boss gives me extra hours this weekend. I hope I get to, I hope I get to pay this bill next week. I hear it all the time.
And so, going back to past recordings, everything we think, feel, do, say, we're creating.
Absolutely.
And so when you're focused on that future obligation,
mm-hmm.
That's what credit is, right?
Yep.
Promise of a future payment?
Yes.
If you're focused on the future,
mm-hmm.
and you're concerned with, and it's because of a concern of lack,
mm-hmm.
then what are you creating more of?
Oh, you're creating more of that.
Creating more lack.
Yeah.
And the more lack you have, the more indebtedness you have.
Yeah. And the more you live in fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true.
And so until someone learns what credit really is, what debt really is, what a creditor really is, what a debtor really is,
mm-hmm.
until they understand what solvency really is,
mm-hmm.
which was the purpose of this show,
mm-hmm.
then they won't truly be happy.
No. And they won't get out of debt either. They don't understand it. They won't get out of it. No. Keep in mind.
Because if you're living your life to achieve a certain credit score, I can assure you, you're going to continue living a life of debt.
Yeah. It's true.
Which means you're going to continue to live in the future, which doesn't exist.
So.
Which means you're going to continue living with anxiety,
mm-hmm.
stress,
fear,
worry, fear, which means you are not truly happy.
It's true.
Now you have the appearance of looking happy.
Mm. It looks good too.
It looks good too, by golly.
That new Mercedes, boy, woo! That $600 a month payment, woo! Looks good. Oh my
but
God.
Looks are deceiving, right?
Yes, sir.
Never judge a book by its cover.
I know.
Okay? Now, because they look good doesn't mean they really feel good.
Exactly.
I drive a very clean, older model Honda Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
But it's clean.
Mm-hmm.
Thing looks brand new, inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
Drives like a brand new Honda.
Mm-hmm.
Performs like a brand new Honda.
Mm-hmm.
It's paid for.
Yeah.
I don't have the anxiety attached to it when I drive it.
It's true. You don't have to
I get
park.
in it.
You don't even have to park and hide it
I'll
either.
go when I please.
You don't have to park and hide it either. When you
No,
go to, when you go to the
that's
grocery
fine.
store.
Just park a spot to the door if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a handicap tank, I'd park right there in the first handicap spot I can get my hands on.
Yeah.
Because I don't live in fear of losing it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it brand new? No. Doesn't have to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not concerned with the external material things. Is it clean like a brand new one? Oh, yes, it is. It's beautiful. Okay? Outside of the body style, that's the only way you would tell that it's an older model is the body style. But outside of that, no scratches, no dents, no missing parts.
Mm-hmm.
Everything functions on it like a brand new Honda Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an older model one.
Mm-hmm.
See, because I realize I don't have to drive a brand new car to live a good life.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Man, this thing has taken us to New Orleans and back on many occasions. It's taken us to Dallas. It's taken us to Atlanta and back with ease, comfort, and not miss a beat.
Mm-hmm.
No problems. The original spare is brand new. It has never touched the pavement, and it's still in its compartment place.
Mm-hmm.
The spare tire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's never touched. The treads never touch pavement.
Mm-hmm.
And we keep brand new tires on it.
Oh, wow.
We can afford to maintain this automobile like we should.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can afford to.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the debt responsible for associated with the automobile.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like I told you, with brand new cars, you can tell when a person can afford it or not just by looking at the shape of the tire.
It's true. Yeah.
Try to tell if a tires on a brand new car have a lot of road wear on them,
Mm-hmm.
then they can't afford to even maintain the tires
It's true.
because they're more concerned with financially meeting that debt obligation
To keep
associated
To keep in the car.
to keep in the car.
Yeah,
They're more concerned with just keeping the car than maintaining it.
Yeah. You can't even maintain it. Because keeping it,
Can't
it's already,
even maintain.
yeah, it's already taken all their money just to keep it. It's already taken all their money.
Because the debt obligation
Yeah.
that they owe is taking everything they have
Everything.
just to keep them behind the wheel.
Yeah.
And so I have to ask the listener, what is better for you as a person?
Mm-hmm.
Driving an automobile that you can literally maintain monthly,
Mm-hmm. And don't have to hide it when you park at the grocery store.
don't have to hide it,
From.
and then you've got
Being
money
told
left over at the end
or
of the
repo.
month,
Mm-hmm.
or driving a brand new car that you can only meet the obligation of the payment for.
And can't even buy new tires to put on your car.
And let's not forget the insurance,
Yes.
which is full coverage.
Yes.
If you're driving a car with a car note, then I already know. I've done this before. I already know you have to maintain full coverage.
That's the only way the banks protect their investment.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so you're paying full coverage to cover a vehicle that you don't own.
That is. Isn't that crazy? Wow.
It's madness.
It is madness. You don't even own it. You don't.
You don't even own the vehicle,
No.
but yet you're going to pay the full coverage to protect it for the real owner.
The slash bank.
The bank, the finance company, the lender,
The lender.
creditor, the creditor, and lest I overlook all that, let's go back and look at what a creditor really is. One to whom another is pecuniarily indebted to.
Wow.
In other words, you're indebted to somebody with a monetary penalty. That is your creditor. That is your lending institution.
Yep.
That is Ford Finance. That is Chrysler Finance. That is Chase Bank that issues the majority of car loans right now. They are the ones making money off of you.
Sure.
They are the ones that are taking your money and still own your car.
Yeah, it's true.
Enforcing you the requirement to pay a premium for full coverage insurance.
Yeah.
In other words, they're forcing you to protect their
Investment.
asset.
Their investment, yeah.
Their asset. Because the car is owned by them.
Yeah.
If they lent you the money to buy that car, they own the car. And then they're forcing you through legislative requirements, to protect their asset, their interest. You're not protecting your own interest or your own asset because it's not an asset, because it's a liability.
It's a liability. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And so it's like a double whammy. But yet they claim it's car ownership.
They give it
Don't pay that car note for 90 days and see what happens.
Yeah, it's no longer yours.
You'll get up in the morning to get in that car to go to your job, and it will be gone. Because the repo man will have slipped in there in the early mornings of the night like a thief in the night and confiscated it. And then if you want to get your car out of impound, you'll pay what you owe plus another penalty.
Absolutely.
More interest plus impound fees, and you will end up paying more to get that car back than what you really owe. And trust me when I tell the listener this, your car note exceeds the real value of that automobile.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That's where people get it wrong. By the time
Your car note exceeds the value of what that car is truly worth.
It's true. So it's basically like you're paying for a car and then the next step is throwing your money away. I mean, after you pay for the car,
Well, you sell money for the right to drive their car.
yeah.
Hold up, wait a minute. I mean, if you use common sense, how does that really work? You're paying somebody else for the right to drive their car.
Their car, yeah.
Huh?
Hmm. And if the car is valued at $6,000, by the time you finish paying for the car to be the rightful owner of the car, you end up paying $12,000.
Or more.
Or more, yeah. Or more.
That's bollocks.
Yeah. You're being screwed. Oh, you're getting screwed. That's, oh my God.
Getting played.
Getting
played.
Yeah, you're getting played. Now you wonder why Americans, by the time they retire, they're broke. Then you wonder why they're broke. And
because their liabilities exceed their assets.
Exactly. And this is what they do mostly. This is what I've noticed with a lot of people that I've met that do car payments. As soon as the car is paid for, the thought of keeping it is no longer there. You understand what I'm trying to say?
No, they want to trade it in for a brand new one.
They need, because they like to pay that car note. They're so indoctrinated in paying that bill that once that bill is no longer there, they have to find another way. It's like, oh wow, this is no, the car payment is over with. I need to get myself into another car payment. So it's easy. Oh, I'm just going to trade up and get another car. And that's exactly
they call it trading up.
Trade up, yeah.
But all they're doing is continuing debt.
Debt, yeah, I know.
And so they've gotten into a life cycle.
Yes.
Of continuous debt. It's a mindset.
It is.
A very negative mindset, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Very negative.
Mm-hmm.
Because chances are that person's not doing what they would really love to do.
It's true.
Because they don't have the luxury, I have to use that word because it's really what it is, the luxury to think for themselves.
It's true.
They don't have the luxury to think of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the luxury of doing what truly brings them happiness.
Yeah.
They don't have the luxury of truly being themselves, which is being happy.
Mm-hmm.
The whole purpose in life is to be in joy,
mm-hmm.
to be in happiness,
mm-hmm.
to be a being of joy and happiness. That is truly the purpose of every human being, is to be in joy.
It's true.
To be in love.
Mm-hmm.
To be loved. Okay? Because you were created and you are a creator.
Absolutely.
You know, people are like, oh, I want to know what my purpose is in life. Your purpose is to be in joy. Mm-hmm. So do what brings you joy.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't do that.
No.
Because our lifestyle and our culture in this country is not built on that.
No. So basically, you're being robbed of your purpose. When you're basically being robbed of it.
You're being robbed of your joy.
Yeah. Wow.
Your real joy.
Mm-hmm.
Your inner peace, which is real joy.
Yeah.
Inner peace is what real joy is.
It's true.
I mean, if you sit still long enough and don't think for 5 seconds, I guarantee it, an overwhelming sense of peace and joy will fill you up.
It's true.
Sit still for 5 seconds and don't think about your future promise of payment toward your debt. If you don't think and focus your thought on the external, all you will feel is an overwhelming peace, joy, stillness, and that is your real presence.
Yeah.
That is real consciousness.
It's true.
And so while most people, the average person may look happy, may look wealthy, that's on the external appearance.
It's true.
When chances are they're not.
Yeah. Well, how can you be when you have all that debt over your head? It's not possible.
Wow.
Think about it. You can't.
Gratitude for your own presence is true prosperity.
It's true.
That's true prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
And you can only be grateful for your own true presence by being in joy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Internally, you're joyful. Internally, you're happy.
Mm-hmm.
That person doesn't care what another person thinks about them, by the way.
Yeah.
How you view me, you've heard me say this before, Nick, is not my problem and none of my business.
None of my business, yeah.
That's your problem. That's your business.
Yeah.
Because I already know internally what I am and how I feel about me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not self-centered. That's not selfish. That's not arrogant. It's called consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
It's called awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only by becoming conscious and becoming aware when the external no longer matters.
It's true.
See, I don't have an image to project.
Mm-hmm.
All I have to do is be.
Yeah.
Be present.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm not worried about an image to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
None of that matters.
Absolutely.
It's that energy field that matters.
Mm-hmm.
And people pick it up, boy. Oh, man, do they pick it up.
It's true.
Quick.
It's true.
You know, it's that good vibration.
Yeah. It's true.
You know, it's that hippie phrase, man, I like his vibe.
I like his vibe.
Oh, that's dude speak, okay?
Yeah. It's
And
basically-
the reason why people like your vibe is because you like you.
Yeah. It's true.
And so I've noticed how our society, people aren't approachable anymore.
Nah. They're not.
We're at to be.
No.
People used to interact socially.
Yeah, they don't anymore.
They don't anymore.
No. They're not
People,
happy.
for the most part, used to look out for each other's well-being.
Yeah. They don't anymore.
They don't anymore.
Yeah. It's true.
And as within, so without.
It's true.
So
Yeah.
we brought this episode to the listener
Mm-hmm.
so that they could understand their position
Mm-hmm.
with debt and credit,
Mm-hmm.
so that they can better their lives.
It's true.
Not here to judge.
Mm-hmm.
You made your own choices.
Mm-hmm.
It's your choice. You have a right to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But all I can say is your credit score does not make you who you are.
It's true.
All your credit score does is tells you how much debt you've carried
Mm-hmm.
and can carry
Can
to
carry.
maintain your life situation.
Mm-hmm.
But that does not make you who you are.
It's true.